Hey guys, welcome back. Joe here again from ScaleFreak.com, coming to bring you another video in the Red Devil Recon series. Today, in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be installing the RC4WD ARB Stubby bumper on the front of my rig. Now, this is, I'd love to say that this is a bumper that I've been wanting for a while to put on this truck, but I was actually accidentally sitting on the RC4WD site the other day, and this was a new product that was there, and I went, that's exactly what I was looking for. I was originally going to put the Rampage JK bumper on the front of this thing, but then this bad boy came out, and I thought, oh yeah, I got the Rampage on the F-bomb, what if I put the Stubby on the JK? So that's exactly what I wanted to do, and it's kind of difficult to see it on here right now, but whatever guys. Check out the video, watch my initial product review and the installation of the bumper, and I'll talk about some of the future plans for the Red Devil Recon. Alright guys, keep watching. First step here, of course, is to talk about the packaging that it comes in. RC4WD has always had a pretty decent package, just kind of very clear on what their parts are. I've noticed in the past little while they've actually started adding these little Silipacks in there, which is great because in some of the past products that I purchased from RC4WD, if any moisture gets in the bag for some of their products, it may start to oxidize and you may see a little bit of rust coloring. I wouldn't say that it would rust because you get it long before anything bad could ever happen to it, but it's still a good precautionary measure just to throw them in there. Please just remember, guys, if you got pets, throw those out. And it says right on the bag, don't eat it. So even if you're really, really hungry, guys, it's right on the bag. Don't eat it. Of course, this guy is part number Z. I am Canadian, guys. Z S1332. You can get this from the RC4WD website. Now, this is an actual ARB design bumper, which ARB is a real one-to-one company that makes parts for, well, off-road, but definitely Jeeps. So this guy here was actually specifically made to go onto the front of a Jeep, basically because of the width of the wheels. So you can see here the stock bumper that comes on this boy here is, eyeballing it, I guess the ARB is just a tiny, maybe a millimeter wider on each side, so it's actually meant to be a very stubby bumper. It's actually meant to stay very, very close to the rig, which I am a fan of. That's actually exactly what I wanted it to be. So that's why I wanted to get that, so I can get a nice approach angle. I've had rigs before where the bumper sticks out too far and then the approach angle gets cut off because the bumper's hanging out this far and your bumper smacks a rock long before your tires are ever going to hit, and then it's all up to the rear of your vehicle to try to push you up onto an obstacle, which is a major pain in the ass. So this thing here, let's talk about the part a little bit before I really get into it. Number one, you do see it's very, very minimal, right? So it's not this gigantic heavy thing. It's actually not very heavy at all. I would wager, I would love to get my scale. Oh, hold on, there it is. Who would have thought to have it next to the camera? So the scale itself, this little bad boy here is going to weigh in at, hold on, wait for it. So we're looking at pounds and ounces. So it weighs in at 3.8 ounces. And I guess for argument's sake, I should actually weigh it against this other kit, or sorry, this other bumper. So give me 1 second. I'm going to tear this thing off, and we'll get that taken care of. I want to weigh that as well. Easy enough to get these bad boys off. It's actually just two little tiny screws. You pull them out, they're just crossed down in there like that. So this is 3.8. This bad boy here is, okay, 0.7. So I was way off on the weight scale. But hey, I'm not right about everything. But this, of course, is plastic. It's very bendable. You can see everything about this is very, very easy to bend. So if you were to mount a winch to this, which there are no winch mount holes on this thing, you can drill them. I've seen people drill them in there. I would expect that this would actually tear the winch off the rig. Also remember, on the stock system, your shackles are stuck to the bumper with plastic and the shackles themselves are plastic. So you can get some light winch duty off of that, but nothing excessive. Now I do want to note, this being the Poison Spider design, it does have the space for the light buckets. This is the stock plastic bumper from the G6. This bumper here, you're not going to have that. So if you had a bumper mounted lighting solution, you may need to think of something else. I've got some plans for what I want to do. Maybe you should think about yours as well. So hold on one second, guys. I am going to pull, there's really nothing to pull off the truck. This was about it. I'm going to mount this bumper. We'll go through that. Just give me 1 second. The mounting process on these bumpers, these RC4WD winch bumpers, or bumpers in general, very, very easy. You can see here that you've just got the ports on the side that are going to slap up against the frame. Of course, I am still using stock parts on the front of this truck, so it is stock plastic. It is stock plastic. Normally what I would do, you know, in my other rig, and I'll probably do on this as well, is I will upgrade these front pieces to something like an aluminum or a steel to give it some more frame, you know, rigidity. But when you are mounting something like this to the front of the rig, this is actually going to add a lot of rigidity to the front of the frame because it's very difficult to torque this. Do you have to upgrade these braces? No, not if you've got something like this. It makes it quite strong. But of course, I don't have any supports on the back of the truck that are made out of steel or aluminum. So the back might be a little flimsy still, but the front is going to be rock solid. So easy enough. Again, just pop the screws out here, grab your bit, 4 screws. Now remember, the stock screws that come in this kit are built to be going into these plastics, very, very, very short screws. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I always like to have piles and piles of extra screws laying around just for the purpose of replacing things like these. So you'll notice that these screws are actually the plastic threaded screws, so it's a very, very coarse thread. Very aggressive to get into plastic. Now you'll also notice that if I were to try to screw this back in right now, there's almost no meat that goes through there that will get a good grab onto the plastic. So really what I'm going to have to do is replace these screws with something I have laying around in one of my bins. So actually give me 1 second, I got to go source out some new screws. I want to make sure that they're going to be longer than I actually need them to be so they grab this plastic really well. So for this reinstallation, what I actually like to keep, I usually keep kind of a broken up screw kit around, whether it be like an older screw kit that I had, and you know what, whatever, I didn't use all the screws, so I got some stainless stuff laying around. You can actually see kind of the difference if I put this in here. See the difference in how much meat I'm going to have on the end of that screw. It doesn't look like too much, but just keep in mind that this thread is going to grab the plastic a lot better, and it has a bit more length. I obviously can't use something that's too long because it will just blast through the plastic and just spin and strip everything out. But of course, I do need something that's a little bit longer. Again, eventually I will move to something that's a little stronger on here, something that is metal, so it will thread into it. And then I'll of course use my Loctite to hold it in place and make sure. That's what I do with the F-bomb. Eventually that will happen here. But for today's purposes, again, I've taken the screws out of both sides. This is just the plastic piece. The bumper, very easy, just slides on to the frame like that. Really, it just sits on the outside. And then you're going to use the screws just to kind of get it into place. Where'd you go? There it is. So get kind of just, you don't have to screw it right down. I usually just start by getting a little bit of the thread in, because what I have to do is I want to make sure that the test fit is correct. So I get it on. There we go. Do the front and the back. Now, with these, with a stock setup on your rigs, you don't necessarily have to go drilling holes in your chassis for different things. I have had a couple setups in the past where I had to drill holes into the chassis to mount them longer in. With this setup right here, with this rig, not needed. You don't have to do that, which is a good thing to have. I hate having to drill through my chassis because I don't know what I'm going to use it for later, and I don't want to have extra random holes on there. So now I've still got it on there, but you can see I haven't tightened it down, so I still have some movement. Just want to throw the body on really quick to make sure it fits like I want it. See if I put this in here. Yep, so pretty much I'm going to put this at its furthest back setting, just like that. So, I mean, if it comes out, of course, it does pop up a little bit. I don't want that, so I want it just like that. And, you know, even with the body on, I can actually just finish tightening these down. Now, everybody who's seen my videos knows what this warning is. You are screwing metal into plastic, guys, so do not over-tighten. It will strip out, and then with a bumper like this, if you start putting a lot of stress and a lot of strain on it, it'll just slide itself off. So what I typically do is just hand tighten them a little bit, just kind of snug, give it a while to cool down, and then I'll come back later and finish the tighten down. That's one more reason as well that I like to replace those supports if I'm going serious on the rig with metal, is that I can actually crank them down as much as I want to, and they're stuck. They're going to be in there lock solid. So there we go. Give it a little bit more of a tighten there. For aesthetic purposes, I'm actually going to wind up changing these screws. I had the stainless screws laying around, but I like to go with the red on black on this truck, and now I've got stainless screws in there so you can kind of see that. I will change that, but for now this is on there. So this guy is not coming off, and of course I can get a winch mounted on this. It will literally just sit right in there, and this bumper, if you look on the RC4WD website, is actually set up to accept the new worn winch. And I mean, the old winch, let's see, the old winch would of course also fit in there, but it is set up to accept the new one. So that's kind of what I'll be doing with that as well, because it will fill a large gap on this space. Now, one thing I do also want to mention is that there is a slot in the front here for a fair lead. So the winch itself, you know, you can use the fair lead that comes with it. I'm sure you can mount it onto the front if you'd like, but they do show this online with the really, really neat worn fair lead. I'm going to buy that because I thought it looked great, so I'm going to get that. Also, there's no hardware to mount that, and there's also no hardware included with the bumper to mount the winch. So if you're going to put a winch on this, you need to make sure you have the correct mounting hardware. Check to see if it comes with the winch. Check on the description of all RC4WD products just to make sure before you buy it. Before you check out, make sure you have everything there. So that's it on this one, guys. You can see exactly how this little bad boy goes on there. Of course, with this bumper on here, I will put that very large winch in there. The new worn winch is a very large, visually very large winch, so it's going to take up a lot of the space that's in here. I also should be able to possibly lower the body a little bit, depending on exactly how I want it to look. You can see here I've got it up pretty high, but I'm going to check to see what feels comfortable for me. I want to make sure that I still have all of my room. I don't mind having a jacked up body, but either way, the winch, I mean, you can see right now, you can see the mount points. It looks a little awkward if it didn't have something in there, but when I put the winch in there, all of this will be hidden, so you won't see the old bumper mount points. Of course, that old bumper right here, worked great for me. I'll just leave it in the box in case somebody from the Scale Freak group around the local needs it, so I've got that available here. But you can see from the side, still get a good approach angle. This thing can still get up on rock, and from the front as well, it looks pretty good. And oh, sorry guys, these here as well, this is points for your shackles, or you can put hooks and stuff into those. So I'll be putting the mini shackles in there just to kind of give it the look that I want it to have, and going from there. Of course, they're metal, this is metal, which means I'll be able to pull lots of stuff with this truck. So that's it for this video, guys. Fit and finish looks amazing. I really, really dig the bumpers that you can get from this company. They always look great. If you have any questions, please, guys, please feel free to put them in the comments section below. While you're at it, please click the like, click the subscribe. And I don't really post this on a whole ton of places anymore, so please feel free to share it if you know somebody who could really use the information that I have in this video. I really appreciate the shares. I've been seeing it a lot lately, and guys, it is awesome. So for today, that's it from the Red Devil Recon. Tekin, Savix, Red Devil Recon. If you guys have any questions, again, like I said, put them below. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.